Welcome to Midsummer Myths, where you'll find stories that shock, inspire, and make you rethink what's possible in everyday life. Today's story begins with a cabin, a stubborn HOA, and a mistake they'll regret for years. You ever meet someone so convinced of their own authority, they forget the law even exists? That's how this all started. My wife and I had bought a quiet little lakefront cabin 2 years ago, not in some sprawling HOA-controlled subdivision, but just close enough to one that certain busybodies thought our property fell under their rule. The cabin was supposed to be our escape. My wife, Jenna, had just come home from a year-long military deployment overseas. She needed peace, quiet, and space to breathe. I wanted to give her a summer where no one asked her for anything except whether she wanted more. Iced tea, the day she arrived. I remember watching her step out of the truck, take a deep breath, and just smile. That smile was worth every penny we'd sunk into the place. But that smile didn't last long. About 3 days in, Jenna was outside, setting up a hammock between the pines, when she noticed a golf cart slowly creeping up our gravel drive. 2 women sat inside, one with that classic purse-lip scowl you could spot from a mile away, the other, clearly there just to watch. I stepped out onto the porch and waved, but the driver didn't wave back. Instead, she drove right up and stopped in front of Jenna. "Excuse me," she said sharply, "you can't just move in here without board approval." Jenna looked at me, confused. "Board?" she asked. "That's right," the woman said. "This property falls under the Lakeside HOA, and we don't have any record of you as a resident." Now, I knew full well this was nonsense. We'd checked before buying our parcel was not under the HOA's jurisdiction, but I could see in her eyes she wasn't here to talk. She was here to intimidate. When I explained we weren't part of the HOA, she narrowed her eyes. "We'll see about that," she said, pulling out her phone. That was the first moment I realized this wasn't just a nosy neighbor situation. This was going to be a fight. Asterisk, if you've ever seen a problem snowball before your eyes, you know exactly how this week went. The very next morning, Jenna was sipping coffee on the porch when 2 uniformed officers pulled up our driveway. One was taking notes, the other was already scanning the property like they expected to find contraband. "Ma'am," the taller one said to Jenna, "we got a call about a possible trespasser living here." Jenna tilted her head. "A trespasser? On my own property?" Apparently, Karen, we'd later learn her name was Linda. But Karen suited her better. Had called the sheriff's department, claiming a strange woman had been living here without permission and might be squatting in a property that belonged to the HOA. I came outside with our deed in hand. The officers looked it over, exchanged a glance, and assured us we were fine. Still, they admitted they had to respond because the call claimed there might be a danger to the community. It didn't stop there. Over the next week, Jenna couldn't so much as water the flowers without Karen or one of her little HOA soldiers rolling by in that same golf cart, glaring like she was about to spray graffiti on the pine trees. It got to the point where Jenna started bringing her camera out just to document their harassment. The footage we captured, oh, that would come in handy later. But the tipping point came when Karen decided she wasn't getting results fast enough, so she tried to bring in reinforcements. Asterisk, sometimes people push so far, they back themselves into a corner they can't escape from. It was a Friday afternoon when we heard the crunch of tires on the gravel drive. Not 1, not 2, but 3 vehicles. Karen's golf cart led the parade, followed by a black SUV with HOA security slapped on the side. And another car full of gawkers. 3 men in cheap-looking uniforms got out, puffing their chests like they were about to storm a compound. One of them told Jenna they were here to escort her off the premises until the matter was resolved. Jenna, calm as ever, set down her coffee. On what authority? She asked. HOA regulations, one of them replied, pulling out a laminated piece of paper. I almost laughed. It was a photocopy of HOA bylaws from a completely different subdivision. Not even our county. Jenna stood up, reached into her jacket, and pulled out her wallet. With deliberate slowness, she flipped it open to reveal a military ID complete, with her rank, branch, and photo. The lead security guy froze. Karen's jaw dropped. Now, Jenna said evenly, unless you have a lawful court order or a warrant signed by a judge, you have exactly 10 seconds to get off our property. The so-called security team shuffled back. The gawkers whispered, and Karen. She just stood there, face pale, as Jenna counted down from 10. When she hit 3, they were already halfway to their cars. You know that moment when you realize the tables have completely turned. That was today. Karen had made a critical mistake. All her calls, visits, and security stunts had been documented. We had clear video of her trespassing, false reporting to police, and attempting to remove someone from private property under fake authority. Jenna took the evidence straight to the sheriff's department. Turns out, making false police reports isn't just bad manners, it's a misdemeanor. Trespassing, that's another charge. The sheriff himself paid Karen a visit. We didn't get to hear the whole conversation, but judging from the way she avoided our property afterward, it wasn't a pleasant one. Word spread fast. Neighbors who had been friendly with Karen started keeping their distance. Some even came by to quietly apologize for not speaking up sooner. We didn't just stop at the legal angle, though. Jenna filed a harassment complaint with the county, ensuring any further stunts from Karen would come with immediate fines. For the first time all summer, we had peace. The sound of the lake lapping at the shore replaced the whine of a golf cart engine, and Jenna, she finally got to relax. Here's the funny thing about bullies. They don't expect you to push back harder than they push you. A month later, we heard that Karen had stepped down from her HOA board position. Officially, it was to spend more time with family. Unofficially, the legal trouble and loss of face made her persona non grata at community meetings. Now, whenever we pass her in town, she looks the other way. And the best part, she can't do a thing about the fact that Jenna still lives here, still walks the property with her head high, and still gets greeted warmly by the sheriff whenever they cross paths. It's a small victory, sure. But for us, it was a reminder. Stand your ground, know your rights, and never let someone else's fake authority dictate your life. If you enjoyed this story, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss the next wild tale from Midsummer Myths.